Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Sports Plug with your host Xavier Williams. Of course, if you are tuning in for the first time, please make sure you like and share this broadcast. If you are checking out on Facebook, if you are on YouTube, please make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel page at the Sports Plug. And we are, for the first time, doing our recap show on Twitch. So if you are on Twitch, please make sure you follow and subscribe the Sports Plug on our Twitch channel. Now, usually any other day, of course, we recap our Week 16 show. Let me go ahead and bring it up for you guys right quick. But yeah, like I said, any other time, of course, you join us, you'll be checking in the NFL Week 16 recap show with my co-host Ishmael Sirian. Unfortunately, today he has to take care of a family emergency. So let's all make sure we send our love and shout out to Ishmael on that one. His family, we're definitely praying for you guys. And of course, he'll be back next week to be on for our preview show for Week 17. So with that being said, we're going to get right into things for Week 16. And before we get into the games that we just saw, we're going to go ahead and talk about a couple of headlines that have dropped in the NFL. First things first, let's go ahead and talk about the Washington football team went ahead and decided to release Dwayne Haskins after 2 years. They drafted him in the first round, the number 15 pick in the 2019 draft. Of course, if you remember Dwayne Haskins getting drafted by the Washington football team at the time, his famous quote at the time was, "The league done messed up," because he felt like at the time he should have been a higher draft pick. He felt like he was a better quarterback and maybe should have went top 5, which is understandable because any player that comes into a draft, you want to feel like you are the best player in that draft, and that's understandable. But unfortunately, over time, and I think more than anything with the changing of coaches, the changing of the guard, with Ron Rivera coming in and taking over things, I think that has made this relationship sour. Dwayne Haskins, a couple years ago, of course, was drafted to be the number 1 guy for Washington. Ron Rivera came in and, of course, is the head coach for the Washington football team. So he brought in his guys. A guy included, of course, was Kyle Allen, who, of course, have played this year. It's been 3 quarterbacks for the most part has played for Washington football team. Kyle Allen, Alex Smith, and also Dwayne Haskins, which is very surprising that Alex Smith is still out here playing, but he is, and he was able to start over Dwayne Haskins a couple of games throughout the season. And it's very unfortunate that Dwayne Haskins is in this situation. But if you talk to a lot of people that are around the NFL, unfortunately, he has been told by a lot of different NFL guys that you might need to calm this down. You might want to understand the situation that you're in because a lot of people don't get this opportunity. And a team, not just the Washington football team, but any team in the NFL, all 32 teams, is only so much they're going to put up with you if you're not producing on the field. So if you're not producing on the field, your leash gets shorter and shorter no matter what round you are drafted in, from the first round to the 7th round or even a free agent. And with that being said, the situations that have happened with Dwayne Haskins, seems like week after week, it just created a snowball effect for Dwayne Haskins and honestly just put Washington into a corner to where they had to do what they had to do. They had to release Dwayne Haskins. It has nothing to do with racism. It has nothing to do with Dwayne Haskins doing the right things and getting talked about. Everything that Dwayne Haskins did, and I'm talking about off the field. I'm not talking about on the field right now. When it comes to being at a strip club right now during a pandemic with no mask on, come on, really? Strip club Haskins? Come on now. You put yourself in these situations. Then this last game on Sunday, after they lost, he pretty much walked out of a press conference and didn't do any media with the media after the game. Win or lose, these are things that are in your contract as an athlete. You have to address the media. No matter if you feel like Kyrie with his situation in NBA, when it comes to he feels like he can do the media on his own, he can't, because you are contractually obligated to do certain things. Same way in the NFL, Dwayne Haskins. He decided not to go about the media route, and he got released by the Washington football team. And with that being said, I'm very disappointed in, and I'm not going to call him out, it's a certain individual that is a Washington football team fan, and I hope he's watching. I hope one of these days he checks out the show again when it comes to us talking about this topic. And he was the main one that said that the Washington football team is racist, and said that this was a blemish on black quarterbacks in the league. Now, I'm gonna say this: I'm black. I play football. Didn't make it to the NFL, but I made it to a high enough level to know the ins and outs of professional football. And with that being said, for people to put the race card on this situation waters down the race card as black people when we actually need to use it for situations that come about. And this is not one of them. This is not a racist situation. This is not something that the Washington football team feels like, oh, because he's black, we need to go ahead and get rid of him. Do we not realize and understand the history of this organization? This is the organization that won a Super Bowl with the first black quarterback. And again, when I have to teach some of you guys your history on football, it disappoints me a lot, because it seems like a lot of y'all have selective memory and forget about football that happened just 5 years ago. And it's very disappointing, because when you have an organization, again, like the Washington football team, they have not done everything correct at all. I understand that, especially with the owner, Dan Snyder. That's the main person when it comes to why the Washington football team is where they are. But when we throw out the race card, especially in 2020, the way that everything has been going on this year, moving forward, us as black people, we got to figure out a better way to go about this, because this ain't it. Some people, and I'm talking about young black people, some young black people need to look at themselves in the mirror and realize, like, maybe I'm not doing the right thing. Maybe I need to do the right thing to show everybody, no matter what race you are, but maybe just show your family first that I am out here doing the right thing, because you taught me how to do the right things. Because last time I checked, me as an individual, if I'm not doing the right things, it puts a bad light on the people that raised me. So with that being said, I just hope this will be a wake-up call for Dwayne Haskins when it comes to moving forward. I hope he gets another opportunity in the league. As much as I hate Ohio State quarterbacks, I hope that he gets another opportunity, because the only way to learn from life lessons is to be able to go through them, learn them, and pick up the baggage that you went about, the good and the bad, and keep it moving, because those are just life experiences that you have to learn on your own. Those are the best experiences, life experiences that you learn on your own, not from anybody else, but from your own. So I hope for Dwayne Haskins, if you are listening, please, the next opportunity you get, no matter if it's in the NFL, Canadian Football League, XFL, make the best of it, and who knows, hopefully we might see you again in the NFL. Again, a couple more headlines I want to talk about as well. J.J. Watt's rant real quick. I think I'm about to have a very unpopular opinion about this situation, and I hope people are listening on what I'm saying and listen closely. I do not have a problem with J.J. Watt. I think J.J. Watt is a great leader. I think J.J. Watt is a great person. Not on the field, but even more off the field. So with that being said, listen to what I'm about to say, because I need y'all to really pay attention. J.J. Watt, you have a problem with players missing practices, not being at workouts, I guess pretty much giving up on the season, as JJ Watt would say, right? And I understand that. I respect that. I swear, I really do, because he's right. I'm not saying he's wrong, but the problem I have about JJ's rant is it's fine to get on the players because you want to hold them accountable. That's understandable, right? Because they make a lot of money, they do what they need to do on the field. I got that. That's what JJ said. But can we also hold the people that are in charge of the Houston Texans that do not have to go out and sacrifice their body on an everyday basis, every week basis, every month basis, every year basis, to put up with the BS that is in front of them? And if they don't like what they see in front of them, product, I'm talking about from an owner's point of view, if you don't like what you see as a product, you're able to do what? You're able to get rid of it and bring in what you want to bring in for next year. We see that every year with different organizations around the league. So the problem I have with JJ Watt the rant is, why are we not calling out the owners of your beloved team? Because here, when you guys played against the Chicago Bears, it didn't seem like the owners were too interested in what you guys were putting out on the field. Now, last time I checked, J.J. Watt does not control roster decisions for the Houston Texans. He's just rah-rah J.J. Watt. Last time I checked, Cal McNair and whoever else they bring in will be the ones that are going to help decide the future for the Houston Texans. I need everybody else to also understand and realize as well, J.J. Watt is out the door. J.J. Watt Prime is behind him, okay? So I understand the rant, JJ, but your time, it's almost done. It's almost done. So you can say what you want here in Houston, JJ, but you got two things. You can either get up out of here and go maybe win a Super Bowl, or you can stay here, collect your checks, and be a part of the Houston Texans organization moving forward, and hopefully build the Houston Texans into an organization of success moving forward. But it will not be with you. Not because you're not a good player, not because you're not a good person, just because they have wasted your success the same way they did with Andre Johnson, same way they did with Arian Foster, the same way they did with DeAndre Hopkins, the same way they're going to do with you, and the same way they're going to do it, of course, Deshaun Watson. So with that being said, JJ, we'll see you guys, Tennessee, as a Tennessee Titans fan, we'll see you guys on Sunday. I don't expect the rant to really help out when it comes to beating the Titans, because it's not going to happen. And I'll be the first one to say that on this show. It's not going to happen. And if it does happen, you'll see me on week 17 show, probably with a couple of tears in my eye. But I know it's not going to happen, so I'm not worried about that. All right, last headline for the day, and we'll get right into the recap of the games for week 16. Now, I know this is not a popular headline at the moment, but in 10 years, in 2030, I feel like this headline will be a bigger news topic than what it is at this moment. Russell Okung, the lineman for the Carolina Panthers, who've played a couple of teams in the NFL, made plenty of money in the NFL. He is going to be the first NFL player to get paid in Bitcoin. And the reason why that is very, very significant at the moment is because if you know anything about cryptocurrency, you know that Bitcoin, from time to time, it goes up and down, correct? At the moment, it is about $24,000 a coin at the moment. And for Russell Okung to receive half of his $13 million salary in Bitcoin, I feel like it's a game changer moving forward, because I think a lot of people are going to see the value of cryptocurrency and are going to start transferring their money from cash into cryptocurrency. And if you're not on the wave now, I'm just letting you know, you might be a little late. You might not be too late, but I'm just saying, back in 2010, that was the best time to get in, because a Bitcoin coin at the time cost around less than 3 cents. And now it costs $24,000. So just imagine the flip you were able to make with just putting in $100 in 2010, what your riches could be now. So with that being said, I would definitely be on the lookout for Russell Okung and see what he does in the future. Not just, of course, with what he does off the field, but what he's planning on doing in the cryptocurrency sector. Because I know for sure, because he played in Seattle, one thing I know with that Seattle area, with them being a part of Microsoft, they have a lot of insight on things that they don't tell the general public. They tell certain professionals. So certain people that you might want to keep your eyes on because they might know a little bit more information than the general public. All right, with that being said, let's go ahead and get into what you guys came here to see, which is, of course, our Week 16 recap. And we're going to first recap Friday afternoon football with the Vikings and Saints. Of course, that came on or during Christmas time. That was our Christmas Day game to check out. Saints took care of the Vikings 52-33, pretty handily behind Alvin Kamara's 6 touchdowns. It seems like Kamara's good-looking cleats, the green and red cleats, was in the Christmas spirit, and he was out here giving touchdowns to all the Viking fans. You get a touchdown, you get a touchdown, you get a touchdown, because the Vikings defense, there were no purple people eaters on this defense, more like purple plum eaters, because they were not getting the job done. Quote from Zimmer after the game, he said, "This is the worst defense I've had at all time." That's not a good look, especially if you are a defense and you feel like, hey, I've been playing my butt off since week 1. Well, the Mike Zimmer's standards, they're not the standard. So with that being said, the Vikings are now officially out of the playoff hunt. The Saints went ahead with that win, went ahead and jumped them up to number 2 at the moment in the NFC, and they should go ahead and lock that up with a win next week. They should go ahead and lock out the number 2 seed, and we'll probably see the Seahawks stay at 3, and we'll get into that a little bit later on in the show. All right. Saturday afternoon football, Buccaneers and Lions. Buccaneers, of course, took care of the Lions, won 47-7. And to be completely honest, I mean, this game went the way that it probably should have went, with the Buccaneers, of course, taking care of the Lions and getting ready for their own playoff run. With Tom Brady, seems like he's getting into a rhythm now with the Buccaneers. He had 2 touchdowns to Mike Evans, had him one to AB. Mike Evans with 181 yards receiving. Looks like he's going to be very, very close to another 1,000-yard receiving year. And if he does get 1,000 yards this year, he will be the only receiver starting out with 7 consecutive years of 1,000 yards. And he'll be able to break Randy Moss's record with 6. So be on the lookout for that. We'll see. We'll check in week 17 to see if Mike Evans breaks that record, which I have no doubt at all. He'll be able to take care of that. Of course, Saturday night football with this one, the 49ers and Cardinals. Very disappointed in this game, unfortunately, because the Cardinals, and if you, of course, checked out our pregame show with Ish and I, we talked about how we believed in the Cardinals and felt like the Cardinals should take care of this game. They're on a playoff run. They are trying to get into the playoffs. And it just does not seem like it will be this year, just because of the strength of the NFC West more than anything. And most likely we'll see the Cardinals next year. But I'm worried. I wish Ish was here so we could talk a little bit more about that. We'll talk more next week with Ishmael. But I'm a little bit worried about the Cardinals. The way that this season was, it was very up and down-ish. If it wasn't for the Hopkins Hail Mary play, who knows? They could easily be under 500 right now. So next year, they have a lot of things to address, and we'll talk about that more as well on our 2020 NFL review when we review the whole season. But I'll say this about the Cardinals real quick. They have to figure out how they're going to be able to move the ball without being able to pass it 20. I'm saying I was going to say 25 yards down the field. No, without having to pass it 40 plus times a game. They have to establish a running game. I understand they want to do air raid, and as a wide receiver, that's a wide receiver's dream. I would love to catch the ball 15 times a game. But that's regular season play. When you get into the playoffs, if you do not have an established running game, it's going to be very hard for you just to get 3 yards. And being able to hand the ball off to a running back takes so much pressure off you as a quarterback to have to make every single pass. Not saying Kyler Murray can't do it. I'm just saying he's already behind the 8 ball with his size. So to have to put even more pressure on him, having to pretty much throw Aaron Rodgers type passes every drive, is very hard to put that type of pressure on Kyler Murray. So moving forward, I hope for that offense, they find a way. If they're going to keep Kenyon Drake, they have to find a way to implement him in the running game and get him more touches, because that is, for me, I feel like it's going to open up the passing game even more, because you're going to have to make those linebackers sit, because when you're 5 wide, the linebackers don't have to respect the run. There is no run. The only person that's running it will be Kyler Murray. You put a spy on him and you can go about it like that. But like I said, moving forward, the Cardinals got to figure it out when it comes to that running game and what they want to do on the offensive side of the ball. And also, I just want to give a shout out to the 49ers. They should not have won that game, but it just, again, shows how gritty of a team they are moving into next year. All right, Saturday night football. Do apologize on that one. Dolphins took care of the Raiders, won 26-25 in a very thrilling game, especially at the end, the last 2 or 3 minutes of that game, going back and forth. The Dolphins went ahead and put Fitzpatrick in because at the time Tua was not able to get the job done. I've had people reach out to me and ask me, should the Dolphins go ahead and move on from Tua, or should they go ahead and just start Fitzpatrick now and let Fitzpatrick play? And I understand completely where everybody is coming from, because some people might feel like if you put Fitzpatrick in, you can win games by 20 or 30 points. And that's understandable. I got it. But for some reason, it seems like the Dolphins, not that they know what they're doing, but it works. It really does. You're able to put Tua in for 3.5 quarters. He has to learn. As a rookie quarterback, you have to get out there. Rookie, sophomore, whatever, you have to get playing time to get better. You're not going to come out here, no matter who you are, and just light it up every game. You're going to have bad games. The good thing about the Dolphins is that they have a proven veteran quarterback that can come in and just go out there and sling it and not have to worry about, oh, my progression read. I have to read 1, 2, oh, my third read's not there. What do I do? Fitzpatrick is going to see 1, 2. Okay, if it's not there, then I got to make something happen. And that's just a veteran mindset to have that the Dolphins have, that they are able to implement with this offense, because a lot of teams don't have that when it comes to having a young quarterback. Let's just go with the Jacksonville Jaguars. When you have Gardner Minshew, don't get me wrong, he's a good quarterback, but when he gets into trouble, as the Jacksonville staff, it's either one or two things. Either you just have to let him play through because we don't have anybody else, or you just have to wait till he gets hurt and you put in Mike Glennon and you just have to go with what we can go with. With the Dolphins situation, they are in games. And when they are in games, they can say, you know what, we got to put Fitz in at the time because he's our Mariano Rivera. He's our closer. He's able to close out these games for us and allows us to win games that maybe we weren't supposed to. Or, of course, win a game that we're supposed to because we have this closer that's going to come in and help us win this game. So with the Dolphins, for this year, it works. Fitzpatrick is not going to be there, for the next 2 or 3 years to help Tua progress as a quarterback. But for now, it works. And next year, it's going to be very interesting to see what they do. As in, will they keep Fitzpatrick to help mold Tua? Or are they just going to go ahead and give Tua the rings and say, here you go. This is your team now. So we'll have to check out on the Dolphins, see what happens with them. Bengals and the Texans. Of course, if you heard earlier, I talked about J.J. Watt's rant. This is the reason why, of course, J.J. had the rant that he had. Ish and I, before this game, we picked the Texans because we felt like the Texans were going to have a bounce-back type of game. They're playing against the Bengals. Should be a pretty decent win, and you're at home. Well, and just to piggyback on what I said about J.J. Watt, J.J., if you're going to be upset with somebody, maybe you should be upset with the defense because, as we see, you guys are giving up 37 points to a team that doesn't even have their starting quarterback. So I'm just saying there's a lot of commotion and a lot of things going on, not just in the Texans locker room, but of course the front office, outside of NRG, over by 610 by Papado. There's a lot of discussion going on when it comes to what this Texans organization really needs. And to be completely honest, at the end of the day, they just need to win. I mean, winning solves everything. So this year is over with. Next year, let's see what happens, guys. We'll see. All right, Colts versus Steelers. This was a pretty damn good game. The reason why I picked the Steelers, and I'm gonna let y'all know the reason why Ish picked the Steelers because you just wanted to copy off me. No, but seriously, the reason why I picked the Steelers in the same way with Ish is because we know that a Mike Tomlin-led team is not going to let the Steelers go 0-4, 0-5, 0-6 before the playoffs, okay? So with that being said, I knew, for the most part, the Steelers were going to get their act together. They did with this pretty damn good win against the Colts. And it's not them winning the game. It's about how they were able to come back and win this game. They were down 21-7 at one point. And for them to be able to hold the Colts to only 3 points in the second half, that has to make you feel pretty good as Mike Tomlin led coach for the Steelers, to know that, of course, our defense is fine. Our offense is what needs to get together. 4 touchdowns on the day. Of course, usually any other time you put up 4 touchdowns on the board, you should win that game in an NFL game. But I think for the Steelers, this game is a get right game. They needed this to get right. They play the Cleveland Browns next week. And if they were to lose this game, even though the Browns didn't win last week, and of course we'll get into that shortly, the AFC North was going to be play for the division title against the Steelers and the Browns. And if that was going to happen, who knows what people would have been saying about Mike Tomlin if they were to lose that game. But that's here nor there. The Steelers clinched the division. They are in the playoffs. And it'll be very interesting to see who they match up with and who plays them in the first round. So we'll see how that goes. All right. Falcons and the Chiefs, as Ish will say. I'll say it for him right quick. The Chiefs. There you go. Just for you, Ish. They won 17-14. Now, this was not a scoring explosion from the Chiefs that we're used to seeing. Usually we're used to them putting up 71 points a game and not 17. But with this game, I feel like it helped them learn a little bit more about themselves, know that they can get through, a physical type of, team that is playing for their Super Bowl. every time a team plays against the Chiefs, it's their Super Bowl, especially if they're playing the Raiders. But with the Falcons, they're not playing for anything. They wanted to come in to be the spoils. They wanted to come in there and upset the Chiefs, and they were almost there. But as Lee Corso would say, not so fast, my friend. And Patrick, my homeboy, did what he does best and led the Chiefs down the field and threw a beautiful strike for a touchdown to win the game 17-14. And I wish my boy Ish was here today so we can talk about the Chiefs moving forward, but it is what it is. We'll wait until next week to talk a little bit more about the Chiefs, and that's fine. But I will say this. The AFC is going through Arrowhead this year, as it did last year. I'll be honest with y'all. The Chiefs looks like it looks really good. It looks really good for them to get back into another Super Bowl. We'll just have to wait and see how everything goes. The Chiefs looks like they're firing on all cylinders. And who knows? Maybe the Chiefs will be in the Super Bowl yet again behind that bad man we call Patrick Mahomes. Alrighty then. The Bears and the Jaguars. This was a revenge game, sort of say, for Mike Glennon. Mike Glennon having to play against his old team. The Bears took care of business 41-17. And I'm very upset. Again, I'm upset Ish is not here with me today because I wanted to talk to him about this. And we might have to wait until until the recap show, because the one big question we are going to have to ask ourselves, did the Bears pull Mitch Trubisky too early in the season for Nick Foles? Because at the time when the Bears pulled Mitch Trubisky, they were still undefeated. I'm not saying that the Bears are going to go undefeated with Mitch Trubisky. That's not what I'm saying. But if the Bears could have kept what they had with Trubisky, who knows? Maybe they might have 10, 11 wins on the season. And they probably could have a higher position in the NFC playoff seeding at the moment. Right now, they are number 7. Again, if they had 9 or even 10 wins, they could be easily the 5th seed in the NFC. So, So, with that being said, I think that's something we might have to look back on and see, did the Bears make their own mistake by shooting themselves in the foot and saying, well, even though we're undefeated, we feel like we can do more with Nick Foles because Nick Foles did this with the Eagles and he didn't really do it with the Jags, but he showed glimpses of it with the Jaguars. Let's put him in here and see what he can do. And who knows, maybe it might have messed up what the Bears were able to do on offense. But that's moving forward. Like I said, not just with the Bears, but with the Dolphins, like I talked about with their quarterback situation. It's going to be very interesting to see how they move forward with their quarterback situations. All right, Giants and the Ravens. The Ravens took care of business against the Giants 27-13. To be honest with you, of course, if you are looking on paper in this game, you pretty much knew that this game was going to be the Ravens' game to lose. And of course, the Ravens took care of business behind Lamar Jackson 27-13. Again, with certain teams are getting geared up and ready for the playoffs. With a guy like Lamar Jackson and the Ravens, no disrespect, but your pedestal is so high to where we don't really care anymore what you do in the regular season. And I'm not saying that we don't care about you. Again, I know people like to twist words and stuff. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that you are so great that no one cares about what you do in the regular season anymore. That's Aaron Rodgers, that's Russell Wilson, that's Patrick Mahomes, you Lamar. There's a couple of guys out here is like, okay, that's fine. You won 11, 12 games. We need you to do it in the playoffs. That's what it's about. Lamar Jackson, can you get your first playoff win this year? Can you do that for the Ravens this year to prove to everybody that you are not a choke artist, and also prove to everybody that the type of offense that you guys run works for the Ravens? And at the moment, if the playoffs were to start right now, they would actually play against the Steelers in the first round in Pittsburgh. So for division foes to have to play against each other for a third time, it's very hard, especially if they split. I have to go back and go look and see if the Ravens and Steelers split. I feel like they did. But if the Steelers swept the Ravens, I feel like it's very hard for a team to beat a division foe for a third time in the same season. So with the Ravens trailing upwards and the Steelers kind of plateauing, we don't really know. We'll wait and see what happens with the Steelers next week. I don't think the Steelers want to see the Ravens in the first round, because if they do, it could be bye-bye for the Steelers, and with a hell of a regular season, being able to be the only Steelers team to go 11-0 for this season in franchise history. It could be all for naught if you play against this Ravens team at the wrong time, and the Ravens are on fire when it comes to their offensive scheme. So we just, again, have to wait and see what happens with these playoff matchups. I'm very excited because some of these teams we could see some division rivals see each other in the first round, and it can go either way. It really could. So we'll see. All right, I said we talked about them before. The Browns versus the Jets. As you guys can see, we picked the Browns to win this game, just like most of these games. If you saw on paper, you felt like maybe they should take care of business. I will say this though, I don't want to let the Browns off the hook. I really don't, because the Jets are a one-win team. They got their second win against the Browns. But I kind of want to give them a little bit of credit because, I want to take them off the hook just a little bit, because they did miss about three or four of their receivers. Three of them are starting. And for the Browns to go from there were wide receiver core to no wide receivers, I understand that changes the game plan very quickly. The main thing about this Browns game is the turnovers. Baker Mayfield had about 3 turnovers, and of course, anytime you turn the ball over, you will lose the game. You lose a turnover battle, you will most of the time lose the game. So with that being said, shout out to Baker Mayfield for doing what you're supposed to do, and that's be a quarterback and pretty much say, it was on me, my bad, it was a bad game. I'm gonna have to learn from this and move forward, because that's all you can do. Next week you play against the Steelers, and y'all need this game to be able to stay in the playoffs, because they are at the moment number 7 seed. You win and you're in. And I don't think the Steelers are gonna let y'all get in the playoffs that easily. So it's gonna be very interesting to see what happens with the Browns and the Steelers next week. A lot of divisional matchups, so it's going to be fun. We should definitely check it out. All right, Panthers versus Washington. Panthers, of course, won 20-13. And again, like we talked about in the early part of the show, we talked about Dwayne Haskins released from the Washington football team. And this probably had something to do with it. If you checked out our pre-show, Ishmael brought up who was a starting quarterback. And I told him at the time it was Dwayne Haskins. And that definitely scared him a little bit there, because he felt like, I don't know if I should put all my eggs in this basket for Dwayne Haskins, because I'm not sure. And I told him, hey, they're playing the Panthers. We don't know when the Panthers are showing up. Go ahead and throw them out there. It don't matter what quarterback you got for Washington football team. They should take care of the Panthers. Well, they did not. And it's very unfortunate that the Washington football team could not capitalize on this opportunity, because they still are in the playoffs at the moment. And they had an opportunity to lock up their division with a win and not have to worry about the other trash teams in the NFC East. But with this loss, they left the door wide open to not just the Giants, but also the Cowboys. The Cowboys still have an opportunity to still make the playoffs if they win Week 17 and Washington and the Giants lose their games. So with that being said, if the Cowboys make the playoffs, I think we should all beat up Dwayne Haskins. Maybe. I'm kidding. No, not beat him up, but we might have to go pay you a visit, Dwayne Haskins. We might have to go pay you a visit. But seriously, though, I don't think anybody wants to see the Cowboys in the playoffs. Not because they're good, but because we seriously are tired of hearing and seeing about the Cowboys this whole season. Like, nobody want to see that. Alrighty then. Just like nobody wanted to see this game. Even though I picked the Broncos, I'm very disappointed. I'm disappointed and I'm very proud. I feel like I'm a parent because it's like, when you see your kids and they do something that you're proud of them of doing, even though deep down inside it's like, I didn't want you to do that. Not that way, but you did it. So I am proud of you. And with that being said, both of these young quarterbacks, Drew Lock, Justin Herbert, I think both of these guys will be big talents for both of these teams moving forward. Ish and I talked about Drew Lock being John Elway's main guy moving forward. That's something that we just have to wait and see. But Justin Herbert is here. He has arrived. If you haven't heard about him, you need to find out because he has broken pretty much every quarterback rookie record so far passing-wise, and it seemed like he's just doing it with ease. He's now has 7 300-yard games, passing games, and he's on pace next game to pass up Andrew Luck's passing yards in a year. So, of course, if you do remember Andrew Luck, just a couple of years ago, he was projected to be Peyton Manning's next heir, the next seat at the throne for the Colts. Unfortunately, things did not work out. And that's football. That's not just football. That's business. That's life. That's how things go, right? And we hope to see Justin Herbert be great in LA moving forward. But we cannot crown people yet until they have about 2 or 3 years in the league and we see their full progression and wait and see what they are really about when adversity hits them. That's the main thing. Alrighty then, speaking of adversity, this was a game that I feel like will help Jalen Hurts in the future. And the reason why I picked the Cowboys in the first place for this game was because I felt like the Cowboys, when it comes to, and I know it's going to sound weird, but having some pride, the Cowboys actually had some pride this game when it comes to not letting Jalen Hurts come in and do what he's been able to do to the Saints and the Cardinals. And the reason why I feel like from the first game with the Saints, he was able to do what he was able to do because nobody had film on him. And that's something me and my guy Adrian Lunsford talk about all the time. No matter who you are, what position you play, what sports you're in, when a guy comes in that you've never seen before play, you have to adjust on the fly, and you don't really understand or realize how fast a guy really is, or how fast that ball can really get from the quarterback position to a wide receiver until you see it on tape. So now that we have 3 games on Jalen Hurts, these teams that are looking at Jalen Hurts moving forward, they're going to see, okay, he likes to do this. Okay, he don't like to do that. Okay, he's uncomfortable when we do this to him. Okay, he's more comfortable when he rolls out to his right. So these are things that defense coordinators are going to be implementing in their playbook. So when they play the Eagles, they are going to, of course, scheme for Jalen Hurts in this way. I think Jalen Hurts has very big upside. I think Jalen Hurts could be a really good quarterback for a lot of teams in the NFL. But I feel like Jalen Hurts needs to get the hell out of Philadelphia because I think Philadelphia will mess up his career because I think I have no solid sources on this or anything like that, but I feel like and I think that the Eagles are trying to make sure they hold on to Carson Wentz until the cows come home and will not take care of Jalen Hurts the way they need to. And with that being said, I hope Jalen Hurts is able to get through his rookie contract and is able to move along and play elsewhere and make another franchise happy because of the leadership that he's able to bring in. Look, Philadelphia Eagles, if you want Carson Wentz, have him. We're more than welcome to. But history has shown, and I'm just going to leave it at that. So we'll wait and see what happens next year with the Eagles. We'll see. Alrighty then, this Rams and Seahawks game. This is something that I definitely wanted to talk about because I'm very disappointed in the Rams because I've been high on them. Been very high on them since week 11, week 12 when it comes to hoping that they will make this turn. And they have playoff experience. They have Super Bowl experience. They have pretty good coaching, really good players. And unfortunately, they were not able to get the job done. Unfortunately, they were not able to get the job done against a Russell Wilson-led Seahawks team. And I'll be quite frank with everybody that's listening. When I saw Russell Wilson come into the game with his Mamba jersey and his Kobe Grinches on, if you don't know what Kobe Grinches are, go ahead and Google them. I told myself Russell's going to win. I did. I told myself Russell Wilson's going to win this game. And you see what happens when you don't go with your gut? See what happens out there, boys and girls? Boys and girls, for future references. If you feel like something is right in your gut, go with your gut because Russell Wilson took care of business at home. You know, I mean, just another game to say, why do we keep on doubting this guy? Seriously, though, why do we keep on doubting the magnificent Russ, easy bake oven Russ, Girl Scout cookies Russ, Bobby Flay Russ? It don't matter. Salt God Russ. He out here cooking. Okay? He out here cooking, all right, son? And I ain't talking about points. I'm talking about leadership, baby. I'm talking about leadership. What he do on and off the field. That's what he does. He can be that nerdy guy all he wants to. But that nerdy mother, boy, he put up some damn wins. I'll tell you that. He does. Boy, I respect the hell out of him. And people I respect the hell out of, because I already know. All my Titan haters, come on, go ahead. I know y'all want to come at me. Come on now. We got our butts whooped. We deserve it. Can't really talk about too much on this game because Aaron Rodgers is a bad man. And might statistically go down as probably the greatest quarterback ever. When it comes to best quarterback on field, that's up for debate. But statistics-wise, he's a bad mother. Shut your mouth. And with that being said, Aaron Rodgers, he didn't have a chip on his shoulder. This fool had a boulder on his shoulder because all people like you, reporters, and all the other folks out here want to keep discrediting Aaron Rodgers, talking about they ain't playing no good teams, so they must not really be that good. So you know what? You know what Aaron Rodgers want to do? Okay, sure. If we ain't playing no good teams then, all right, I'm going to light the Titans up for 40. So you know who I blame? I blame the media people. I don't blame myself. I probably should blame myself, honestly. Probably should. When I think about it, probably should blame myself. But that's not the point. The point is, I blame everybody out there that keep doubting Aaron Rodgers because y'all keep playing with this man. This man going to be in the damn Super Bowl again. And to be honest with you, if it's Patrick Mahomes and Aaron Rodgers, I have no problem checking that Super Bowl out at all. I would not be mad. I don't want to see it, but I kind of do. It's like you're bringing me in, but I don't. That's pretty much how I feel. So, with that being said, I'm disappointed in the Titans because the Titans should have put on a better performance against the Packers on Sunday Night Football, on national television, in front of the 10,000 people they had in Lambeau because they weren't able to allow everybody in Lambeau. I want to say it's the same old Titans, I really do. I really do. But I'm not just yet. I'm not. Because we went to the AFC Championship game last year. We're in the playoffs right now. All we got to do is win on Sunday. We win the division. And playoffs is 0-0. We'll use my nose as the... There you go. 0-0. And with that being said, the regular season does not matter anymore. So we will have to wait and see how everything plays out. But I think the Titans needed that butt whooping. Wake the hell up. Wake the hell up. All right, Monday Night Football. Sheesh. I tell you, a team that didn't wake the hell up, the New England Patriots. Woo! Looks like the Bills went into New England and took care of business, as they should. I think the most interesting thing about this game is all the statistics that came out after this game. The Bills are the first team in the AFC East to sweep the Patriots since 2000. Y'all know what year it is right now, right? It's 2020. That was 20 years ago. That either shows two things. Either shows how great the Patriots are in this division or how crappy the other three teams are in the last 20 years in this division. We can debate with your mama, but right now, it looks like at this moment, this Patriots era might be coming to an end. And in the future, it looks like this division might be determined by the Bills and the Dolphins. And with that being said, it's going to be very interesting moving forward if that is the case, because what I can see, because next week we have the Bills versus the Dolphins playing each other in week 17. What I can see in the future is maybe Miami having to go to Buffalo to win their division in the cold. You know, that I think that would be a hell of a game to see the different climates. Or, of course, the opposite. Maybe Buffalo might have to come to Miami and play in 85-degree weather when it's 4 degrees in Buffalo. So I think that's something we'll have to be on the look for moving forward with not just the Bills, but the division. It's going to be very interesting to see who's able to take the torch from the Patriots. Or who knows, maybe next year the Patriots are able to get Carson Wentz and Julio Jones and rebuild that defense. And all of a sudden, the Patriots are right back there, right back there again, not just for the division, but also making a Super Bowl run. We'll just have to wait and see. But also, shout out to the Bills' offensive side of the ball with Stephon Diggs breaking numerous records for the Bills franchise-wise, being able to break most catches in a season and also most yards in the season. Let's just say that a lot of people keep saying the trade worked out for both sides, for the Vikings and the Bills. I understand it. I agree, but I feel like we need to give more of the edge to the Bills. It's more 60-40. The Bills won that trade because of just look at what he's able to do, Diggs, what Diggs is able to do on the field. And another thing we also got to mention as well is Buffalo plays outside. Minnesota plays indoors. Let's remind people on that as well. And for Diggs to do what he's able to do, playing, half of his games outside compared to Minnesota with Justin Jefferson. I think Justin Jefferson is going to be a great talent for the Vikings. But I do count teams that play outdoors at home. That holds more weight to me than teams that play indoors. And again, you can argue with your mom on that one if you feel this type of way. But that's just how it is when you come to the Sports Plug. Alrighty then. We have about 6 minutes left for the show's over with, so we're going to run down the different standings for each division, and then we're also going to run down the AFC and NFC playoff standings at the moment. For the AFC East, of course, we have the division leader Bills, Dolphins, Patriots, and the Jets rounding out the division at 2-13. For the AFC North, we have the Steelers leading that division at the moment. Behind would be the Ravens, the Browns, and the Bengals. And, of course, if you can see, yes, the Ravens did jump the Browns in their standings with their win and the Browns' loss. So keep an eye out on that. All right, the AFC South, the Titans are still leading the division at 10-5. The Colts are right behind them, and the Texans and the Jaguars round out that division. Playoff scenarios will state that if the Titans win, they're in. Of course, they win the division. If the Titans lose and the Colts win, the Titans still win the division because they have the tiebreak, but the Colts get in. I know that sounds messed up, but that's just how it is, and that's just what I read. All right. If the Titans lose and the Colts lose, Titans, of course, win the division. And the Colts could miss the playoffs, depending on the teams that are in front of them, the Ravens and the Browns. We, again, have to wait and see what happens in Week 17 to see what happens with the Colts. But the Colts could be on the outside looking in. We just have to wait and see. AFC West, of course, you have the Chiefs leading that division. The Raiders, the Chargers, and the Broncos round out that division. The NFC East, oh goodness, look at these great records right here. The Washington football team at 6-9, the Cowboys at 6-9, the Giants are at 5-10, and the Eagles are at 4-10. And like I said, the Giants are still in contention when it comes to winning this division. I have to think for a second, because we seriously might have a 6-win team make the playoffs. All right, I'm just going to leave it at that, and I'm going to go ahead and go to the NFC North. The NFC North, of course, have the Packers leading that division. The Bears round that off, the Vikings, and the good old Lions. NFC South, the Saints are leading that division at the moment. The Buccaneers, the Panthers, and the Falcons. The NFC West, like I said before, with Russell Wilson with that win against the Rams, are actually clinched now the NFC West. It is now their division at 11-4. The Rams are at 9-6. Cardinals at 3, and the 49ers are at 4. So let's go ahead and get into the AFC playoff seeding. At the moment, after Week 16, these are what the playoffs look like at the moment until we play, of course, Week 17, and things at the bottom half. More the 6 and 7 seed might change. I think the 5 seed should change with the Dolphins. Should stay the same. I apologize. But the Ravens and Browns, depending on their game results, could, of course, make some changes in the AFC. At the moment, you have the Chiefs at number 1. You have the Bills at number 2. You have the Steelers at number 3. Titans at 4. Dolphins at 5. Ravens at 6. And the Browns at number 7. Like I said, that Steelers and Browns matchup, it's going to be very interesting to watch. The Dolphins play the Bills, on Sunday as well. So we're going to have a couple of playoff matchups in Week 17, the same way we did in Week 16 with the Steelers and the Colts. And if you see the results now with the Steelers and the Steelers and Colts game, with the Colts loss, that dropped them out of the playoffs. So again, we just have to wait and see. Maybe they can sneak back and get that 7 seed. The NFC, the Packers are number 1 at the moment. Saints are 2. 3 of the Seahawks, 4 of the Washington football team, 5 of the Buccaneers, 6 of the Rams, and 7 are the Bears at the moment. And again, we have to wait and see how the NFC plays out, because the Bears are definitely not for sure to have their playoff spot. Right behind them are the Cardinals. Depending on what happens with their game Week 17, they could still sneak in. I think the Bears are going to go ahead and lock that one up. Very interesting to see what happens with the 4 seed with Washington or the Cowboys. We'll just have to wait and see who gets in there. But for the most part, it looks like the NFC should be kind of locked up. Don't see anybody else really trying to jump anybody. But for the NFC, it's pretty much with the Vikings losing last week. Unfortunately, that took them out of playoff contention. So they're done with it for this year. But as always, I appreciate everybody for tuning into the Sports Plug. For Week 16 recap, we'll see you guys on Sunday morning for our Week 17 preview show. Last week of the regular season. I don't know about you guys, but I am happy we're finally getting to the playoffs. But that unfortunately means once we're in the playoffs, that means that football season is ending. So, like Ish and I talk about, it's a short but long season. And we are glad to have everybody checking out our show with us. And we appreciate everybody's love and support. And with that being said, we'll see you guys on Sunday, 10 o'clock on the Sports Plug. Thank you guys. Have a good one.